Let's go Dino!
Tiny Epic Dinosaurs is a 1 to 4 player game, and essentially you're ranching dinosaurs, or you're farming them. So it's a worker placement game. You're trying to get dinosaurs, ultimately breed them, and then, I guess, sell them off to fulfill contracts.
Yeah, the cool part of it is, as you go, you need to feed them, you're breeding them, and there's multiple different steps along the way. There's some cool research and development as you go.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that feeding them's cool, because I hate feeding them. So that's one of the things in the game. It's you're also managing your resources, because once you get your dinosaurs, different dinosaurs have to be in pens with the same like dinosaurs, and then you have to feed them. And it has this cool mechanic that you have like 10 slots, and you put a dinosaur over something, you won't get that resource during your income phase later on, which is a pretty like unique spin on things.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing is there's a few ways to get points or victory points in this game. So your dinosaurs that you get through research give you points, as well as other research codes. Then the dinos themselves that you have in your ranch at the end of the game will score you points, as well as your contracts. So sometimes it's advantageous to try to sell off those dinos quickly, because you don't have to feed them as many times. But if you do have dinos at the end, they're still going to score you something.
Yeah, I found in our playthroughs that you want to have certain dinos early in the game, but there's other ones like the, I forget the name of the red dinosaur, but he's too food. And you don't want to have too many of like the more powerful dinosaurs too early, because you got to just continually feed them the entire game, which only lasts 6 rounds, but it adds up over time.
Yes, I've been caught by the Brontosaurus many a times where I had one escape because I couldn't feed the fella.
Yeah, so the component quality is really good. I think we were both really impressed by what we saw. The research dinosaurs that she was discussing, you get 15 in the box, and they all had their own unique meeple, which is really cool as well.
Yeah, and all of the other regular dinos are unique as well.
Yeah.
So each of the dino types have their own meeple, their own color, as well as your ranchers are kind of cool. They're unique. They're not just a standard meeple. And then the board itself is designed out of tarot-sized cards, and you build that out, and then you have 2 boards for yourself, or 2 cards for yourself. One is your ranch, and then the other one is your kind of like your player board.
Yeah, you get what they call in the back of the box dino meeples. The one thing I do like about this game as well is the board that you set up that Lisa was just discussing. You get to change it based on your player count. So certain cards will say, okay, 1 to 3 use these slots, but if you're playing with 4, flip it over. So we always appreciate that in a game, because it gives you just more replayability, and it also means the game's a little more fine-tuned for the player count that you're using.
Yeah, and then the other thing, this is the deluxe version, so it did come with a mini expansion, so there was just a lot of game in this box. There's also a variety of public contracts and private contracts, and then research codes. So you're going to get different research dinos that come out each time, so that's going to definitely change up the game. As well, other players can block you out of spots. So you're not necessarily going to be able to do everything you want to. And then there's also a custom die that lets you manipulate how many dinosaurs you can get, or if your dino ends up in the medic.
Yeah, so I think it's a fun game. I think we both enjoy worker placement, and I definitely think we both enjoy farming games. And this hits like a nice little mid-ground between both. And as you can see behind the walls behind us, we had to take some games down here. But space is at a premium for us these days. And the one thing I love about these Tiny Epic games is they're legitimately really decent games inside these small little boxes.
Absolutely. And if you're a person who likes like an agricola farming feel, this has that feel to it, but in a tiny little box. Great value for what you're getting. They're giving you cards instead of a big board, which is definitely saving on space. But overall, the portability of this game is definitely going to allow it to get to the table more often. As well, very simple teach, very simple rule set to get yourself going.
And they have a great card that they just list, like, here's your actions round after round. So we haven't put this away and not played it, but I assume if we came back to it 6 months from now, we'd be able to pick it up pretty quickly just looking at the card. And that always helps with replayability as well.
And this game doesn't have a scoring sheet, but one of the player boards actually flips over and is a great tool to actually score, which I find a phenomenal bonus.
Yeah.
A lot of games don't have that, and you're sitting there trying to tally everything up in your head or on a piece of paper. This one little card is a phenomenal tool, and you just use your meeples to score.
Well, they use the space very well, right? Like, that's the one thing I think that probably makes it interesting to design one of these is you have the constraint of the box and what can you do in that. So as you said, you have to flip the card over, but it's a good use of the card. I'd like to get these guys to come over and like make my suitcase when I'm about to go on a vacation and just fit everything in nicely.
So overall, we love the theme of the game. We love the dino. It adds a little more extra fun and flavor to the game. Meeples are amazing. Production quality is there. And then that little expansion just gives you that little extra in the box to grow into as you're progressing through the game. So for our collection, this game definitely goes the distance.